Okay, here we go. I'm wearing my helmet because I desperately need a haircut and I do not want to deal with how it looks on camera. And yes, I'm wearing my glasses because the sun is right there and I'd be blinded if I didn't. But this episode is going to be a very quick tutorial on the cruise control on the GL1500. I'm going to talk about some of my thoughts with it, like what's cruise control actually used for. Let's go ahead and let's get right into it. You can see in the footage, the controls are fairly basic. It's very similar to a car. You do need to be at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. There's not a gear requirement. You can turn it on in any gear. You can only set if you're going over 40 to 45 miles an hour, and you can do that in fourth or fifth gear. Typically, you're not going to be going 45 miles an hour in third, but I'm fairly certain you could set it for that as well. From you can see it, you go ahead and you hit the on button. Like I said, very similar to a car. You hit the on button on the dash, a little orange light, it will say cruise on. And then you hit the set/decelerate button. You only need to press that one time. It will set your speed at where you're currently going at, and it will engage the cruise control. At that point in time, you can let your hand off of the right handlebar and it will go on its own. Set/decel, it will engage the cruise control. It will lock it at where you are at. And like any cruise control, it means you don't need to hold the throttle to maintain that speed. It is electronic cruise control. It is not like the cruise control of past, where on the GL1200 and 1100, you would just have a little lever on the side. You would push it down and it would lock the throttle. The electronic cruise control is much safer because if you were to just lock the throttle, it's a lot harder to undo that in a panic. Now, once you're going, you can press the accelerate button to go up a couple mile per hour each tap, or you can press down to decelerate a couple mile per hour per tap. How useful is that? I'm not entirely sure on a motorcycle. There are newer motorcycles that actually have adaptive cruise control. That would be pretty cool to have. I'm not even sure if the brand new Goldwings have that, but I do know that there are some adventure bikes that do have cruise control like that. If you need to cancel the cruise control, there are 3 ways to do that. The number one way, which may be the easiest, if you just pull in the clutch, that will disengage. You can see in the footage here, I tried to see what would happen if I shift gears with the cruise control on. It will not work because as soon as you pull in the clutch, it will disengage the cruise control. And you can also press the button off. You can turn the cruise control off by just pressing the button. That works. And then the third way is to press either of the brakes, and you only need to tap it just slightly. Now, I would be careful with that, especially in a panic situation. Let's say you have the cruise control on, you need to cancel the cruise control, and you hit the brake a little too hard, especially going at highway speeds. That would make me a little bit nervous. Typically, what I would do, if you're trying to disengage it gently, I would just pull in the clutch a little bit. I find that the easiest way to do it. Pull in the clutch a little bit, it'll release the cruise control, and then, just get back on the throttle, kind of like you were to shift gears. There's a couple of reasons why you may want to use cruise control on your GL1500, and this may go for other motorcycles as well. The main reason is, on a motorcycle, your hands really are kind of stuck in a position on the handlebars. Unlike a car, you can use one hand or the other hand. You can hold it in all kinds of weird ways. On a motorcycle, your hands are stuck, and if you're going to be riding for hours and hours on end, it is useful to be able to take your right hand and rest it for a while. You can put it on your hip, and just go one-handed holding the left handlebar, because quite frequently we'll ride with one hand on the bars by holding the right handlebar, which is the throttle, and then you rest your left hand. We do that quite frequently. It's a little bit harder to do that the other way. And of course, there are motorcycles that don't have cruise control at all. So if you're going to be riding 4 or 5 hours, even less than that, like sometimes even an hour and a half long ride, it's nice to just rest your hand a little bit. And if you're on a motorcycle with a lot more vibrations, you really feel it in the hand a lot more. I think for a bike you're going to do a long trip on, and if you have a bike that's a designated touring bike, cruise control is basically a must-have. Like, I would say that's absolutely necessary. You do need to be careful with it, especially if you're trying to figure out the buttons while you're riding. You need to be careful. Don't get distracted by the buttons. Try to figure it out like somewhere close to your house. Get the cruise control down. Practice using it before you're on a long ride, before you're on the interstate. Try it at 40 or 45 miles an hour first to get used to it. And just because the cruise control is on, that doesn't mean you need to let your right hand go. You can set the cruise control and you can keep your right hand on the throttle, on the handlebar, and just kind of relax your hand, or kind of rest your hand on top of it. You don't need to hold it as tight. And I actually recommend when you're riding, you really shouldn't be squeezing the handlebars anyways. But you can relax your hand. You can keep your hand on the bars, but just you won't need to maintain that pressure. It'll use a little bit less brain power. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video interesting. I'm going to be making a couple other tutorials on different features of the GL 1500. That's, of course, that's not my main bread and butter, but I do make a lot of videos about the Goldwing. Coming up here, I'm going to be making some videos about the Honda Rebel 300. I'm very excited about. My mom's letting me borrow her bike for a week. We're going to be getting a Ural, a 750 Ural. We're going to be getting a 650 Shadow. We're going to be going on some cool rides, and the channel has been growing a lot, and I'm super thankful. So go ahead, guys, if you're into the GL 1500 at all, go ahead, watch my full review of it, and I'll see you in the next one.